There'll come a time in the future, you'll be sitting with your grandchildren and the topic will turn to entertainment. And you'll recall fondly how you used to go to a large hall and drink a lot of beer and have a lot more beer spilled upon you and be entertained by a short Scottish man who'd scream at you. Who was that man, they'll ask in wonder. You'll look back proudly and say, Barnsey! So you're back in the pubs?
Yes.
Now, a lot of acts have a great disdain for getting back in the pubs. Is that your attitude?
No, I don't know why. Most of the acts that I know have started out there and had most of probably the best times of their lives in there. I'm lucky enough to still be having a great time in there. I'm still enjoying it, you know, so it's a lot of fun.
What's different? What's the same? I mean, the itinerary I saw looked the same as a 1979 itinerary. Is it the same sort of scene? Yeah, well, put it this way, you're still eating your backstage rider in a men's toilet somewhere backstage. who wants to eat the rider? They bring you a fruit platter with cabanossi and things like this, and you're in a public toilet, you know. So no, most of it hasn't changed that much. The great thing about pubs is you're on your own. You know, you're there, and you got no frills, and you just got to make it work. And you know, it's up to, like I said, the crowd and the band to make the show happen. You know, and it's up. You know, you do desperately need both. You know, you really have to work off each other. Yeah.
Here's one for anybody who's not really happy with what we do. RHL.
The face is older, or is it a better place?
No, there's a real mixed bag really. You get, you know, it's you know, there's a lot of Chisel fans there. You know, you get the odd, you know, bunch of yobs up the front, Chisel all night, you know, and all that sort of stuff.
And in this day of every single band getting back together and going back out again, is the Chisel reunion any closer or off the...
Not really, not really. There was we were actually asked about it recently by the Oils to do for this Salvation Army show, which would have been a great charity to do it for if ever you're going to do it. It just never seemed to happen, so I'd say it's still, you know, probably not going to happen. You know? I think maybe one day, if, you know, like Don said, if we all happen to walk into a bar and there's a 5-piece band set up there, and you know we all happen to be there and we're having a few drinks, it might happen for a night. You know, but other than that, I don't think so. I did a great gig one night in the restaurant at the Sydney Opera House with Chisel. It was like really stark, bare. You know, we thought this is going to be horrible. It was a real estate salesman's convention, a fancy dress ball, and they all came as Arabs. It was like, you know, we didn't believe it when we walked in. And, you know, by the end of the night, we're running across the smorgasbord, you know, diving in it. You know, it was like, you know, so we had a great time, you know.
No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by.
You know, I picked songs like Here I Am by Al Green. You know, I had to represent, you know, I tried to represent as many of the influences on me as possible. The only one I couldn't get in was Otis, because I just couldn't do anything better than Otis, you know. You know, I did a Wilson Pickett one. I did, you know, Higher and Higher by Jackie Wilson. Many Rivers I did again with the Jimmy Cliff song. River Deep, Mountain High. I did a duet with John Farnham, which turned out fabulous. That's, nice When Something Is Wrong with My Baby, the Sam and Dave song. It was really good. That was a real, a lot of fun, that one.
You obviously admire his voice. And
yeah, I love his voice. But the funny thing was, we did the record at my house. And, you know, I said, John, come down and sing a song. And he came down, and he was shitting himself. He was so nervous. I couldn't believe it. And I was saying, what's wrong with you, man? Don't be so nervous, relax, have a good time. And he opened his mouth and I got nervous, you know.
It's an amazing thing with both of you. I mean, you both live fairly hard. You know, John's a reasonable sort of drinker and smoker, and yourself have had a, you know, the odd night partying. How do these voices stand up? I mean, does it amaze you?
I don't know. What killed me with John, he's drinking cognac and smoking cigars, you know. Like, Jesus, you know, at least I've given up the smoking. But I don't know, I think we're just lucky, you know, really. I know a lot of people who, you know, look after themselves much better than either of us and have a lot of trouble with their throats. So, you know, I think we're just very, very lucky.